Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our continuing series in the Atomiswave to Dreamcast ports. They're coming out as fast as I can make these videos, so big thanks to MegaVolt 85 for doing that. And today we're taking a look at maximum speed. If you like Daytona USA, you're really going to enjoy this as well. I can't say it's as good as Daytona, but it's pretty close. Before we get too far involved in the video, if you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, ring that notification bell, definitely appreciate it. And if you feel so inclined, we got a Patreon link down there as well if you want to support the channel. But I like the fact that this game has stock cars, trucks, and Formula 1 vehicles, and you get a good selection of tracks. So they're definitely doing something a little bit different than Daytona, which is giving you 3 different types of vehicles to play with, and then giving you 3 different acceleration types from there. It doesn't change the game that dramatically, you're still on the same tracks, but it is just diverse enough to give you something different to do. But I pick automatic because for some reason in arcade racing games I always never like to do manual transmission. But what you see is what you get with maximum speed, which is to say that it's a really competent, fun arcade racing game. And I've mentioned on the channel before how much I've loved this particular genre of racing, and I wish we got more games in the genre. Now I like things like Forza, but they're a little bit more sim oriented, where I really want to just kind of push the envelope, and I would love a brand new San Francisco Rush game just like they were in arcades. And you can see I very quickly flip my car. I will say that in this game in particular, doing the first-person cockpit mode is quite difficult, because you really want to see where the back right edge and the back left edge of your car is, because if you hit the wall going too fast, you're either going to lose all your speed, or you're just going to completely flip ass over tea kettle, so it's going to be a little bit harder for you to drive in that. And I feel like that's a little bit of a disadvantage to the game, because I do like that first-person mode, but because the wall is so sensitive when you hit it, you want to be able to see how close you are to it, because the best thing you can do in this game, and I would assume racing in general, I've never done it, is you want to stay low in the course so you can kind of slip between your opponents. And you'll see that the impacts are quite strange in the game. You just touch tires and your opponent just flies out of the way. It makes it a little easier and more fun, but that's definitely not how real world physics work. But honestly, it's an arcade racing game, so we should throw physics right out the window completely. But the game looks good, it sounds good, it's really entertaining to play, and like I said, if you like Daytona USA, you're really going to enjoy this one. And again, it's something that never came home, so outside of owning an original Atomiswave board and wiring up the pedals and the wheels, which is quite the deal, I've done that with platforms in the past or arcade racing games, and it takes a good day to get it done. Playing this on the Dreamcast feels great. I tested it on my original Dreamcast with an optical disc emulator, and I've tested it in emulation as well. Plays great with an Xbox One controller in Windows 10. Plays great with a Dreamcast controller on a Dreamcast. So the steering is just pretty much flawless. Now you'll see that I have that Formula 1 kart, and this plays completely different. It's much faster, but because the courses are tighter, you really have to worry about slowing down in the corners and making sure you don't hit the wall. And you'll see, at least at the start, I was completely failing at that. But once you get a feel for the courses and you race them once or twice, getting good at this game is pretty easy, and I didn't run out of time too often. I believe I did on this particular race, but unlike a lot of the Sega racing games, or even if you're doing really well, one wrong bump and you're out of time on the clock, maximum speed definitely feels a lot more fair in that respect. Now, with a lot of these Dreamcast releases, we can't get into the test menu and change the difficulty, and I believe what MegaVolt 85 has been doing is just leaving it on the normal difficulty as it would have shipped from the factory, but hopefully in the future we're able to kind of get into those menus and adjust it so we can get more difficulty, less difficulty, and kind of play around with that. And now moving right over to the, truck. Every vehicle races a little bit differently. They have different weights, they have different accelerations. Racing with a truck is definitely the bump and run racing. You're just going to be pushing people out of your way as you come around corners and kind of knocking your way up towards the front of the pack. I do really like that there's 24 vehicles as well. Although one of the fun things of this is getting all 24 vehicles on the course. You can definitely see how the opponent models change in real time. They're made out of like maybe 50 to 100 polygons at a distance, and when you get closer to them, they increase in quality, but it's pretty apparent if you watch the cars as you go by. Suddenly, they blip into existence with a lot higher polygon count. But short of that, I mean, this game is just super fun. I can't say enough good about it. It's not the best racing game in the world, but to have another really good racing game on the Dreamcast is an awesome thing to me. It's definitely a platform that has plenty of racing games, but how could you go wrong with one more? When you get to a situation like this, when you start seeing the leader of the pack up front, I can see third and second in the distance, the intensity definitely does ramp up, and you really want to be able to place. Now I can't say that I've gotten a first place finish in this game yet, but I've gotten very close. But once you get up into third, second, and first, the AI gets really cutthroat. It never feels unfair, but you definitely have to be racing pretty much perfectly to be able to get that podium finish, because I was trading third and second place back and forth over and over again. Now, if I did have one complaint about the game, it's that, there are 5 tracks, but they are quite short tracks. You're going to be doing 6 laps on each, and I kind of wish that there was at least 1 or 2 tracks that felt a little bit longer or had a few more turns. So if you look at the map in the bottom right, you're going to see it basically just is your classic semi-oval racing circuit. And as I'm coming in here, I'm in second, he bumps me, and then magically at the very last second, he overtakes me and I end up with third. I was so close to that second place finish, but kind of like in Mario Kart, magically, the AI likes to rubber band at the last possible second in time. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to let you watch a little bit of the next race, just from start to finish. That way you can hear some of the soundtrack. It's not the best that I've ever seen, but it's also not the worst. But it's always fun to show you guys kind of what the game looks like and plays like when I'm not talking. So I'll be back in about 45 seconds to a minute, and we'll close out the video. But enjoy.
3, 2, 1, go!
So yeah, that's Maximum Speed. It's a super fun arcade racing game and kind of that Daytona USA vibe. If you've never played it before, you should definitely check it out. I left the link to the Dreamcast talk forums down below, which are where all of these games are getting released and talked about. So if you encounter any bugs, it's a good place to report it. But short of that, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely takes a lot of time and effort to make each one of these videos, and we appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. But again, like I say in every video, big thanks to MegaVolt85 for figuring out how to get these games onto the Dreamcast, because for the longest time people conjectured it was possible, but he has proven that it is, and now all of a sudden the Dreamcast library is just getting massive in the fall of 2020. Who would have thought at this point in time we would have 10 brand new games to play on one of my favorite retro systems of all time. Short of that, we'll be back with more videos, but we'll see you guys next time, and we hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.